Have you ever sent a completely normal text and then kept replaying it in your head for the rest of the day? Or finally had a quiet moment to yourself, only to realize your body still wouldn't relax? Maybe someone gives you a small piece of
Just a quick
feedback,
note on the
and
presentation.
suddenly your
You
chest
might wanna
tightens
review the
like
Q3
something much
projections
bigger
again.
just happened. And some days, you don't even feel traumatized at all. You just feel unusually tired, unusually tense, or strangely hard on yourself for no clear reason. And the strangest part? Some of these don't feel like trauma at all, they just feel like you're normal. Sometimes trauma doesn't come back as a memory, it comes back as a pattern. So in this video, let's look at 8 unexpected ways trauma can still show up in daily life. Trauma doesn't always look dramatic. It doesn't always come with obvious flashbacks, panic, or a full emotional breakdown. Sometimes it shows up in your habits, in the tension you carry in your body, in the way you react to people, and in the way you speak to yourself when something goes wrong. That doesn't automatically mean every hard day is trauma. But if some of these patterns feel a little too familiar, they may be worth paying attention to. Because what looks like personality, stress, or just being tired can sometimes be an old survival pattern still doing its job. The first one is this. You apologize for things that don't even need an apology. You say sorry for asking a question twice. Sorry for following up on something important. Sorry for needing help. Sorry when someone else seems slightly off, even if you didn't do anything wrong. Sometimes you even apologize just to smooth things over, to keep the mood from shifting, to make sure nothing escalates. And over time, it can feel automatic, like it's just part of who you are. But sometimes it's something your brain learned. Sometimes your brain learns that staying small, agreeable, and easy to deal with feels safer. That being low maintenance reduces risk. That keeping others comfortable keeps you safe. At some point, being low maintenance may have felt safer than taking up space. And apologizing is often just the visible part. What people don't see is what your brain may be doing in the background all day. The second sign is that you feel drained even when nothing big happened. You walk into a room and instantly start reading it. People's tone, their expressions, the energy between them. You notice small pauses, slight changes in voice, the way someone looks away. Your brain is constantly asking, is something off? Is someone upset? Do I need to adjust? Even small things like a door closing a little too hard or a sudden shift in someone's mood can put your system on alert. That kind of constant monitoring is exhausting. When your system has learned that small changes can mean danger, it may stay on watch, even when nothing is happening. You may look calm on the outside while your brain is still doing threat detection, and this is why so many people miss it. They think trauma would look obvious, something dramatic, something unmistakable. But a lot of trauma responses don't look dramatic at all. They look like being too alert, too careful, too nice, or just tired all the time. They look like being exhausted by a day that didn't even seem that hard. The third sign is that you overthink small interactions long after they're over. You replay something you said hours ago. You reread a message and start hearing it differently. You ask yourself, did that sound weird? Did I come off wrong? Did I upset them? You might go looking for clues, trying to piece together what the other person really meant or how they might have interpreted you. And it can feel like you're just being thoughtful, like you're trying to understand and do better. But sometimes your mind is trying to prevent future harm by reviewing everything too closely. It can feel like preparation, but a lot of the time it's fear refusing to clock out. Overthinking can feel productive, but sometimes it's just fear trying to get control. And if your mind doesn't know how to stop looking for problems, your body may not know how to settle either. The fourth sign is something that confuses a lot of people. You can't fully relax even when life finally gets quiet. You finally get a day off, but something in you still feels on edge. You sit down to rest, and within minutes, you feel like you should be doing something else. You try to slow down, but your body doesn't follow. It's like the calm doesn't quite register as safe, and that can feel strange because rest is something you want. But when your system gets used to stress, calm can feel unfamiliar, not because rest is bad, but because your body may no longer associate stillness with safety. When your body gets used to chaos, peace can feel suspicious. And this is where trauma gets especially confusing. Even the things you want, rest, calm, closeness, can start to feel strangely uncomfortable. The fifth sign is that you struggle to trust healthy closeness. Someone can treat you well, be consistent, kind, even patient, and part of you still waits for something to change. You might find yourself holding back, even when there's no clear reason to, or feeling like you have to earn your place in a friendship that already seems open to you. Sometimes people who are stable and predictable can feel unfamiliar, while people who are hot and cold feel strangely easier to understand. You might want to get close to someone, but something in you just won't fully relax. And that can be confusing because you're not trying to push people away. But sometimes your system learned something earlier on. If closeness once came with unpredictability, your brain may begin to associate closeness itself with risk. Sometimes trauma doesn't just make you fear bad relationships, it makes healthy ones hard to trust. What hurts is not just that bad relationships exist, it's that healthy ones can feel hard to believe. And when safety with people already feels uncertain, even a small conflict can land much harder than it looks. The sixth sign is that small conflicts hit you like real danger. A message like "we need to talk" can instantly make your chest tighten. Someone cutting you off mid-sentence can leave your mind going blank. A simple piece of feedback can feel far more intense than it should. From the outside, it may not look like much happened, but inside, your body reacts quickly and strongly. It's like an alarm system going off before you've had time to think it through, and even after it's over, it can take a long time to come back down. Your body may react to ordinary conflict as if it's more dangerous than it looks. To someone else, it may be a disagreement. To your body, it can feel like danger already arrived. The seventh sign is almost the opposite of that. Instead of feeling too much, you stop feeling almost anything at all. You go numb, freeze, or shut down when too much builds up. You might be in the middle of a conversation and suddenly lose your train of thought. Or after an argument, instead of feeling angry or sad, you just feel empty. There can be moments where something important is happening, but your reaction feels delayed, distant, or muted. Or you can seem completely fine around others, and then later, when you're alone, everything just drops out. This can be confusing because it might look like you don't care, but that's not what's happening. Sometimes your system protects you by reducing how much you feel at once. When emotions become overwhelming, shutting down can feel safer than staying fully connected to everything. Shutting down isn't always proof that you don't care. Sometimes it's what happens when feeling too much stopped feeling safe. But sometimes the deepest mark trauma leaves isn't panic, or numbness, or overthinking. Sometimes it's the way you begin to see yourself. The eighth sign is that you carry shame that turns into self-blame, and over time, into feeling like something is wrong with you. Something small goes wrong, and your mind doesn't just stop at "that didn't go well." It jumps to "I mess things up," or "of course this happened because of me." Someone seems a little distant, and instead of wondering what's going on with them, you assume it must be you. A mistake doesn't just feel like a mistake. It starts to feel like evidence. Not just that you did something wrong, but that you are something wrong. And this is where an important difference shows up. Guilt says, "I did something bad." Shame says, "I am something bad." And over time, that shift can be incredibly heavy. Because the voice in your head doesn't just react to situations anymore, it starts to define you. After certain experiences, people don't just carry fear. They carry self-blame. They carry shame. They carry a quiet sense of worthlessness that's hard to explain. And sometimes, that inner voice begins to sound a lot like the voices that once hurt you. One of the quietest ways trauma survives is by teaching you to speak to yourself like the people who hurt you. The danger may be over, but the shame keeps talking. And this may be the hardest one to notice, because it no longer feels like something that happened to you. It just feels like the truth about you. If you recognized yourself in some of these, it doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. In many cases, it means your system learned how to protect you in ways that made sense at the time. These patterns may have helped you survive what your mind and body took seriously, but not all protection still protects. Some of the things that once kept you safe can start to limit you when the danger is no longer there. And healing doesn't mean forcing yourself to just be different. It often means slowly teaching your mind and your body what safety looks like now, in a way that feels real, not forced. That can come through small things: becoming more aware of your patterns, learning how to regulate your emotions and your body, allowing yourself to experience safer relationships, even if it feels unfamiliar at first. And for many people, having the right kind of support or therapy can make that process a little less overwhelming. You are not weak for adapting. You may just be carrying adaptations you no longer need in the same way. And sometimes that realization is where things begin to shift. So if you've made it this far, I'm really curious. Which one of these took you the longest to recognize? Or which of these felt so normal to you that you almost never questioned it? If you feel comfortable, you can share it below. Sometimes putting it into words is the first step to seeing it differently. And if this video helped you understand something about yourself a little more clearly, you're always welcome to stay a little longer here. There are more conversations like this, and you might find something that resonates in ways you didn't expect. And if one of the hardest parts for you is not knowing what safe relationships even look like, that may be the next conversation we need to have. Sometimes naming the pattern is the first time it stops feeling like just who you are.